Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I promise today's story will grab you by the heart and never let go. Imagine just for a moment that you're living a life of unimaginable wealth and success. Everything you've ever dreamed of is right at your fingertips. Now imagine that all that glitters is suddenly put into question by a single life-altering event. A chance encounter that flips your entire world upside down. I'm talking about a millionaire who, on one fateful night, makes a decision that many would consider inexplicable, an act of raw compassion that leads to him adopting an abandoned homeless girl. And here's the kicker. The very next morning, when he finally lays eyes on her, the look on her face leaves him utterly shocked, a revelation that transforms not just his life, but his very perspective on what it means to live in love. Stay with me as we unravel the twists and turns behind this incredible story, and trust me when I say, you do not want to miss any second of what comes next. It was one of those nights that felt as if the storm itself was cleansing the city, washing away the remnants of a long, tiring day. In downtown LOA, where the neon lights reflected off the wet asphalt like shards of broken dreams, our protagonist, let's call him Jonathan, was driving home after a grueling day at the office. Jonathan isn't your typical millionaire. Sure, he's made his fortune through years of hard work and razor-sharp business acumen, but behind the polished image lay a man who'd grown numb to the everyday struggles most of us know too well. As fate would have it, somewhere along a dimly lit street, Jonathan's eyes caught a movement in the distance. There, huddled beneath a small flickering streetlight, stood a little girl, no older than 8, with oversized eyes that seemed to both plead and beckon. Her clothes were worn, her small frame shivering against the biting cold, a stark contrast against the backdrop of a world that had long since moved past kindness. In that moment, something inexplicable stirred in Jonathan's heart. Without fully knowing why, he pulled over, parked his sleek car, and stepped into the rain-soaked night. As he knelt beside her, Jonathan whispered, "Hey, little one, don't be scared. I'm here to help." And in that quiet act of empathy, a single moment that defied the logic of wealth and power, he made a decision that would change the course of both of their lives forever. At that moment, money, status, and prestige melted away, replaced by a bubbling urgency to give her the love and care she'd been denied all too long. Now I know what you might be thinking. How does a man with an empire abandon his comfort to adopt a homeless child in the middle of the night? Let's break it down. For Jonathan, this wasn't a calculated business move or a publicity stunt. It was a profound shift in perspective. In the blink of an eye, he went from a man who meticulously calculated profit margins to someone who was suddenly overwhelmed by an irresistible need to nurture and protect. The next step wasn't easy. Adoption is a complex process, no matter who you are. It involves layers upon layers of paperwork, background checks, home visits, and countless meetings with legal officials and social workers. Jonathan had to navigate through the rigorous protocols that ensure the safety and well-being of a child. And while technology and modern databases streamline some of these procedures, the heart of the process, trust, love, and affirmative judgment, remained as crucial as ever. I remember reading that behind every adoption case, especially one that defies all expectations, there lies an intricate dance of compassion meeting bureaucracy. In Jonathan's case, his innate desire to help overpowered every protocol. With immense determination and a few humorous late-night phone calls to his lawyer, no less, He managed to bypass the red tapes enough to get immediate help for the little girl. Friends would later say it was as if the entire system had conspired to give them this second chance at life. And honestly, isn't that a beautiful thought? You know, for someone used to corporate boardrooms and strategic business meetings, suddenly having to fill out an application that felt more like a preschool art project was both humbling and, oddly enough, refreshing. Imagine Jonathan, whose daily jargon was all about mergers and market shares, now laughing over crayons and storybooks with his new daughter. It's like watching a hardened executive turn into a kid at heart. You can't help but smile at the sheer transformation. After that long, uncertain night of paperwork and promises, dawn finally broke. Jonathan's mansion, usually a fortress of order and precision, hummed with an expectant quiet. He had spent a restless night tossing with thoughts of what the future might hold for this tiny soul he had welcomed into his life. And then, as the first rays of morning light crept through the windows, he went to check on her, only to find something shockingly unexpected. Picture this. Jonathan, still half asleep and bleary-eyed, slowly turns around. There, lying peacefully in a sunlit corner of his opulent guest room, is the little girl. But something about her face isn't quite what he remembered from that fateful encounter. Her visage, which he had initially perceived as worn by the hardships of street life, now revealed intricate lines and delicate marks that glistened with the dew of the morning. These weren't just scars of neglect or indicators of a troubled past. No, they appeared almost ritualistic, like ancient symbols etched by time itself. Her eyes, which once held a simple plea for compassion, now shone with an almost mystical intensity, a depth that spoke of untold stories, hidden sorrows, and a resilience that defied definition. At that moment, Jonathan felt a rush of conflicting emotions, a mix of awe, disbelief, and dare I say, reverence. It wasn't fear or revulsion that gripped him. It was a profound realization that he had just become a part of something far bigger than either of them. That face, so startling and enigmatic, was like a living canvas capturing the narrative of survival, rebirth, and hope. I mean, imagine waking up expecting the familiar, and instead you find yourself staring at a portrait that challenges everything you thought you knew about beauty and pain. It's like going to sleep expecting a quiet night and waking up to an unexpected plot twist straight out of a blockbuster thriller. Now let's be clear, this isn't some horror movie scenario. There was no menacing backstory or supernatural curse here. Rather, what Jonathan witnessed was the unveiling of the hidden layers that adversity can inscribe on a person's very soul. Those markings weren't imperfections to be hidden. They were badges of honor, markers of battles bravely fought in the shadows of a cruel world. And for Jonathan, that morning reveal ignited a spark, a burning desire to understand every silent chapter written on that delicate face, to find out the stories behind every line and swirl. So what happened next? How does a man whose entire life was once defined by cold numbers and high-stakes deals process an experience so raw and transformative? For Jonathan, that unexpected morning did more than just shock him. It shattered his old worldview. Suddenly, the luxurious world he'd built, with its sterile routines and predictable outcomes, seemed utterly insignificant in the face of authentic, unfiltered humanity. In the days and even weeks that followed, Jonathan dedicated every waking moment to unraveling the mysteries of this little girl's past. Together they visited doctors, met with psychologists, and spent long hours in deep conversation. With every gentle smile and every tear shed over a shared snack at breakfast, Jonathan began to see that life wasn't just a series of profit margins and quarterly reports, but a tapestry woven from struggles, triumphs, heartbreak, and hope. Let me share a little relatable example here. Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up completely unprepared for what follows? A day so filled with unexpected twists that even your meticulously planned schedule goes out the window. That's exactly what happened for Jonathan, except his was on a scale most of us can't even fathom. One moment he was the unruffled millionaire, and the next he was thrown into a whirlwind of emotions and responsibilities that redefined his very existence. And trust me, even in the midst of all this, there were moments of humor and lightness. For instance, while trying to assemble a simple children's toy for her, he'd joke, "I thought I was good at assembling multi-million-dollar deals, but who knew these tiny plastic pieces could be so complex?" Each day brought new revelations. Jonathan discovered that the markings on her face were not just random scars, they were a map of her past. They told him about the cold nights on unforgiving streets, of moments when hope was nearly extinguished, and of a spirit that, against all odds, had managed to keep the flame of life burning bright. And as he listened to her soft murmurs and observed her subtle smiles, he realized that he'd not only embraced a daughter, but also inherited a legacy of resilience, of hard-fought battles, and an unwavering will to overcome. This incredible journey forced him to ask himself, what truly defines wealth? Is it the balance in your bank account, or is it the capacity to love, to transform, and to be transformed? Jonathan's experience with his new daughter became a daily reminder that the richest treasures in life are those which no amount of money can ever buy. Let's take a step back and get a little technical for a minute. Don't worry, I promise to keep it conversational. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have this incredible ability called neuroplasticity, which essentially means that our neural pathways are constantly reshaping themselves based on the experiences we go through. When we experience something emotionally charged, like the type of unexpected life-altering encounter Jonathan had, our brains begin to rewire, forming new connections that can change how we see the world. In Jonathan's case, that shocking morning reveal wasn't just a momentary jolt, it was the catalyst for a complete overhaul of his mental and emotional landscape. Studies in psychology suggest that such transformative experiences can lead to greater empathy and a deeper appreciation for the struggles and triumphs of others. It's as if the universe hands you a gentle nudge, reminding you that behind every face, every scar, is a story waiting to be heard. I find this absolutely fascinating. Think about it. All our lives, we're so focused on the next big achievement, the next promotion, or the next milestone. And then, out of nowhere, you're faced with something so raw, so unfiltered, that it causes you to pause, reflect, and ultimately change your way of being. That, my friends, is the magic of human connection. Let's be honest for a second. How many of us have woken up feeling like nothing can shake us, only to be surprised by a moment that completely turns our understanding upside down? I mean, I've had days when I thought I had everything under control, only to have my plans scrambled by an unexpected text or a stray comment from a friend. It's those moments that remind us life is unpredictable, and that unpredictability is what makes it so beautiful. Jonathan's story, this story, is a perfect example of that. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest riches come not from material wealth, but from the profound, sometimes mysterious connections we forge with one another. As we draw closer to the end of this story, I want to leave you with a thought that's as personal as it is universal. Jonathan's journey, from a life of calculated success to one filled with the raw, unpredictable beauty of human connection, is more than just a sensational headline. It's about what we choose to value in our lives. Is it the fleeting satisfaction of a bank balance? Or is it the enduring warmth of a shared smile, a tear, or even the courage to face our own vulnerabilities? Every one of us has our own stormy nights and moments when the unexpected comes crashing in. And while those moments might feel overwhelming at first, they also carry the potential to lead us to new beginnings, to help us see the world and ourselves in a radically different light. So next time you find yourself caught in the monotony of routine, remember Jonathan. Remember the little girl with eyes full of stories. And remember that every scar, every mark, tells a tale of survival and hope. It's these intricate human details that remind us that no matter where we come from, what we've faced, or how battered we might feel, there's always a spark of resilience within us, waiting to ignite and transform our lives in ways we never imagined. All right, my amazing friends, that brings us to the end of today's incredible journey. I hope this story of unexpected adoption, startling revelations, and personal transformation touched you as deeply as it did me. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most profound changes in our lives come when we open our hearts to the unexpected, when we embrace the unknown and let it reshape us from the inside out. If you found this story as moving and thought-provoking as I did, please do me a favor. Hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know, what does true wealth mean to you? And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more stories that challenge the status quo, inspire change, and remind us all to always look beneath the surface. Also, be sure to check out the video on your end screen for another unbelievable tale of transformation and hope. Trust me, it's a ride you don't want to miss. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep embracing the unexpected, and remember, sometimes the most extraordinary beauty hides behind a single mysterious scar. See you in the next video.